We are dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost. We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show, 'cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious, that's the part you always show, 'cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. We're dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. You search but you stay lost. We are reaching for the stars. We're making this too hard. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show, 'cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious, that's the part you always show, 'cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take
Good morning, good morning. Happy Halloween, y'all. Happy Halloween. It is a bright and early morning today. Bright and early, bright and early. We're probably just going to stand here for the press conference and then I'll start another live because we sure got a lot to talk about and a lot to catch up on. I woke up to a shit ton of messages today, so we're going to have to get that taken care of. So anyhow, I'm going to play this. I think it's interesting. We have about 15 minutes until the press conference starts, so I'm going to play this officer coming out and talking before the was arrested. Mind you, they've had Keegan Klein in there for the most part, and then there's the main suspect. So, of course, he's been arrested several times on other things and all that. Anyhow, they were wrong, and this man has been right up underneath their nose the entire time, working in a pharmacy. 2 kids, you know what I mean? Like he's been living his normal fucking life this entire time. So I do want to say that I did post the pictures. His daughter is grown. She is an adult. I understand people want to know why I didn't blur her face. Well, for one, she's an adult. For two, she's all over social media. And for three, I can't go back and fix it now. So it won't let me fix it. So anyhow, I'm going to play this and then we're going to start the press conference. And then once we're done, I'm going to probably end this live and start another one because we got a lot to talk about and a lot to catch up on. So we'll get this party started.
You inspire people that you don't even understand, and you don't even understand why. Information is being released today is the result of literally thousands and thousands of hours of extraordinary investigative efforts by Delphi, Carroll County, the FBI, the Indiana State Police, and countless other agencies. This community surrounded us some 26 months ago, and you did everything you could to support us, but most importantly, you surrounded the family of these 2 little girls. Gosh, I'll never forget it. After you hear what we're going to release today, I'm going to ask for your continued support, your continued understanding, your empathy and compassion as we move forward to find out who did this, and we will. We're seeking the public's help to identify the driver of a vehicle that was parked at the old CPS DCS welfare building in the city of Delphi that was abandoned on the east side of County Road 300 North next to the Hoosier Heartland Highway between the hours of noon to 5 on February 14th, 2017. If you were parked there or know who was parked there, please contact the officers at the command post at the Delphi City building. We are releasing additional portions of the audio recording from that day. Please keep in mind, the person talking is one person and is the person on the bridge with the girls. This is not two different people speaking. Please listen to it very, very carefully. We are also releasing video recovered from Libby's phone. This video has never before been previously released. The video shows a suspect walking on the bridge. When you see the video, watch the person's mannerisms as they walk. Watch the mannerisms as he walks. Do you recognize the mannerisms as being someone that you might know? Remember, he is walking on the former railroad bridge. Because of the deteriorated condition of the bridge, the suspect is not walking naturally due to the spacing between the ties. During the course of this investigation, we have concluded the first sketch released will become secondary as of today. The result of the new information and intelligence over time leads us to believe the sketch, which you will see shortly, is the person responsible for the murders of these two little girls. We also believe this person is from Delphi, currently or has previously lived here, visits Delphi on a regular basis, or works here. We believe this person is currently between the age range of 18 and 40, but might appear younger than his true age. Directly to the killer, who may be in this room. We believe you are hiding in plain sight.
Boom. Mic drop.
For more than 2 years, you never thought we would shift gears to a different investigative strategy, but we have. We likely have interviewed you or someone close to you. We know that this is about power to you, and you want to know what we know. And one day, you will.
Friday was that day, right? Friday was that day.
A question to you. What will those closest to you think of when they find out that you brutally murdered two little girls? 2 children. Only a coward would do such a thing.
And he had a daughter of his own, kids of his own.
We are confident that you have told someone what you have done. Or at the very least, they know because of how different you are since the murders. We try so hard to understand how a person could do something like this to two children. I recently watched a movie called The Shack. And there's also a book that talks so well about evil, about death, and about eternity. To the murderer, I believe you have just a little bit of a conscience left. And I can assure you that how you left them in that woods is not what they're experiencing today. To the family, I hope that you all will give them some time because we're going to be asking that there's no media inquiry or no media response for at least the next 2 weeks, and I hope you understand why. The family found out about this information this morning. I just want the family to know that when I take my last breath on this earth, I'll be thinking of them. There's going to be a tremendous amount of questions. I know that. I know that. Never in my career have I stood in front of something like this. Please be patient with us, please. We're just beginning. We are just now beginning. And I can tell you on behalf of the sheriff and the police chief, so many other partners that have stood with us over this period of time, that we will not stop.
I just unveiled the person that we believe responsible for the murder of these two little girls. So I invite media to take a look at that now. It's not up. Kim. We're also going to show you a video not previously released that superintendent spoke to, and also the audio that's additional to what's been previously released. It's only a slight change in it. So give Sergeant Riley just a second as he gets that up and ready. Stand by for the video, please. There is no sound of the video. As Superintendent Carter mentioned, he is on the railway bridge. You have to take different steps to get to it. This information later this afternoon will be on the State Police website. For the community that's here, we have 100 copies of the news release. If you put in that URL, you'll be able to get to that site to play it. And we also have that same release for you in the media. And the rest of the state will get that release in about 15 minutes. So we appreciate those of you that came here. This concludes our announcement. Thank you for your time, patience, and courtesy.
Just that video with no audio, or would it be audio as well? There's just the video. There's no audio. Video or no audio. What we just played. Yep. Roll that again. Yeah. Roll that again.
This is WGN News Now.
Good morning, everybody. Chip Brewster here with WGN News Now, and we are preparing to hear from the Indiana State Police. What they've told us is a major update in a 5-year-long investigation of the murder of 2 girls from Delphi, Indiana.
So we have
This is the live press conference.
information to come out over the last few days, specifically on Friday, when we had found out through sources that a person had been arrested in connection to this, and then that arrest immediately closed off. That individual transferred from their initial arrest location for their protection. And so we do know a little bit, but we will get the official word from the Indiana State Police. To give you a little bit more of an update for those that haven't heard the latest story, I have a recent report from WGN. Don't worry, if the press conference starts while this report is airing through my live stream, I will cut away so you won't miss a second. Here it is, a little bit of an update from WGN.
The murders of Abby Williams and Libby German have consumed Delphi.
And of course, the moment I start that, they are walking out. So here is the Indiana State Police on the update on the Delphi murders.
Good morning. My name is Sergeant Jeremy Piers, Public Information Officer for the Indiana State Police Lafayette Post. I'd like to thank you all for being here and thank the Delphi United Methodist Church for allowing us to use their facility. This morning, we're going to provide an update on the investigation into the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Before we get started, I'm going to introduce you our speakers, Superintendent of the Indiana State Police, Doug Carter, the Carroll County Sheriff, Tobe Lesenby, and the Carroll County Prosecutor, Nick McClelland. I'd like to remind everyone that this continues to be an active and ongoing investigation. At the conclusion of this press conference, we are going to answer a limited amount of questions out of respect to the investigation and the process that will follow today. We will not discuss evidence that is related to this investigation. On behalf of the Delphi Double Homicide Task Force, thank you all for your continued support. I would now like to introduce to you our first speaker, Superintendent of the Indiana State Police, Doug Carter.
Give me just a second here. Seldom do I have prepared remarks, but today is different because I do not want there to be any confusion or ambiguity with what I will say. Today is not a day to celebrate, but the arrest of Richard M. Allen of Delphi on 2 counts of murder is sure a major step in leading to the conclusion of this long-term and complex investigation. First, I'd like to speak directly to Anna, Mike, Becky, Kelsey, your extended families, along with the entire Delphi community that certainly has grown and now includes our nation and even many countries around the world. I am proud to report to you that today, actually last Friday, was the day. And an arrest has been made. Thanks to literally hundreds of media outlets that have been steadfast in reporting and keeping the memories of Abby and Libby front and center. Many of you in the room have developed relationships with me personally, and you know I always have a personal perspective, and today's no different. But from a very personal perspective, you all have provided inspiration and support, even while oftentimes frustrated with us and me. You continue to encourage the efforts, and you too believe that one day we would all be here participating and sharing this news. To the entire law enforcement community, which includes all local, state, and federal agencies, which are far too many to specifically mention today, thank you, thank you, thank you. We are going to continue a very methodical and committed approach to ensure that if any other person had any involvement in these murders in any way, that person or persons will be held accountable. Since the murders of Abby and Libby 2,086 days ago, the daily investigative team has worked tirelessly and is certainly worthy of mention today. Specifically, Sheriff Linsonby, Sheriff of Carroll County, Detectives Tony Liggett, Detective retired Kevin Hammond, former Delphi chief, and now the prosecutor's investigator, Steve Mullins, State Police First Sergeant Jerry Holman, Detectives Jay Harper, Dave Vito, and Brian Harshman, along with members of the United States Marshal Service, specifically Agent Jeremy Clinton and Agent Bill Culfers. With them today is Dan McClain, U.S. Marshal, appointed U.S. Marshal. Our state police analysts, our scientists from many different disciplines within our laboratory division, Mrs. Kathy Shank, for your incredible dedication to detail, and to so many others that I know I've missed. I really believe that Abby and Libby would be proud of you for standing strong, even in the face of immense pressure and perpetual criticism. Some of these individuals have postponed retirement, passed on promotional opportunity, have dedicated personal time away from their families, given up nights, weekends, and holidays, all while in the pursuit of accountability for Abby and Libby. I know that today's announcement will not diminish your resolve, and I hope you have found just a bit of peace in this most complicated world. This is really important. While I know you are all expecting final details today concerning this arrest, today is not that day. Today is not that day. This investigation is far from complete, and we will not jeopardize its integrity by releasing or discussing documents or information before the appropriate time. Prosecutor Nick McClelland, of course, will share additional information about what we can and cannot say, and also explain to you why the probable cause affidavit is temporarily sealed by the court and not available. And by the way, he has been a tremendous, tremendous asset to this team. I'm yet again asking you for your patience and please your understanding while our system of due process works. Also remember that all persons arrested are presumed innocent. All persons arrested are presumed innocent. You all will have an innate desire to subjectively interpret and then report what you think. We in the law enforcement realm cannot, and you should never allow us to, talk about what we think concerning facts, but rather discuss and share.
Once again, ladies and gentlemen, just letting you know, this is a video feed that is being provided by the Indiana State Police.
At the right time, what it is we know. The time will come when additional details can be released. But again, today is not that in our plan. The prosecutor has been very clear with law enforcement about what his expectations are, about what can and cannot be released, shared, or discussed. So we will, of course, comply. If you choose to be critical of our silence, be critical of me, not the front line. These are the folks that have committed their entire lives to a successful conclusion. In other words, a guilty verdict. As we move to the next phase of this investigation, I will continue to offer all resources that the ISP has to not only the investigative team I anticipate growing, but also to Prosecutor McClellan as we prepare for the coming months. Again, Nick has been very resolute and very clear, and I'm most grateful for his leadership. And it's going to be really important as we move forward. Please continue offering tips that you would like to share. The many avenues to report will remain open and will be available to all. Please continue doing that. In closing, I stand before you in this church and very place where we held our first briefing nearly 6 years ago, and just hours after the murders of Abby and Libby. Right here. Pulling in today, I wasn't really sure what emotion I would experience. But peace came over me. And I didn't expect that to happen. And I hope all of you, with all the different responsibilities you have from around the planet today, have felt some of that as well. But remember, we're not done. I think what we all had experienced proves that together there's nothing we cannot do. But more importantly, giving of ourselves, all of us, giving of ourselves matters more than what we could ever receive. Abby and Libby, though in death, have had a profound effect on so many of us, on how we live, and as importantly, who we all should be. I would now like to introduce to you my friend, the Carroll County Sheriff, Tom Libbys, for his remarks. Sure.
I believe in a God of justice and righteousness. Today, I believe that same God has provided us with justice for Abby and Libby. As Sheriff of Carroll County, Indiana, I want to publicly and sincerely thank each individual who played a role in helping us during this 5.5-year investigation. Whether it was in an investigative capacity, providing tips, cards or letters of suggestions or encouragement, phone calls, and thousands of other countless ways of communicating. I earnestly thank those who prayed for this moment in time. We now move forward through the Indiana criminal justice system, allowing the system to provide its due diligence and process in providing that justice which is owed Abby and Libby, their families, and this community. Thank you.
Welcome, everybody. My name is Nicholas McClellan. I'm the Carroll County Prosecutor. And before we get started, I want to reiterate some of the things that Sheriff Lesenby and Superintendent Carter stated. I first want to thank both of them. They've been a great support to my office throughout this investigation. They've always been there for a phone call and always been willing to help a hand or a line of assistance to me and my office during this investigation. I want to thank the team behind me. This is the Homicide Task Force team that we've put together. Thank them and thank their families for being so understanding for the many nights they've worked away from their families, away from their children. There are many dates in a lifetime that you're going to remember. The date your children are born, the date you're married, the date you buy a first house, the date Abby and Libby went missing. One of those dates was last Friday, October 28, 2022. At that time, we had gathered evidence to formulate a PC that we submitted to the court, and the judge did find probable cause for an arrest of Richard Allen. He's been charged with 2 counts of murder for the murder of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. This investigation is still very ongoing. We're keeping the tip line open, the tip email open. We encourage everybody to continue to call in tips, not only about Richard Allen, but about any other person that you may have. For that reason and for the nature of this case, the probable cause and the charging information has been sealed by the court. I've been very clear to everybody that per the court order, we cannot talk about the evidence that's in the probable cause or the evidence that's in the charging information. That will become evident to you at some point and it'll be released, but right now is not that day. Today's about Abby and Libby, focusing on them. Mr. Allen has had his initial hearing. He's in a preliminary plea of not guilty. The matter's been set for a pre-trial on January 13th at 9 a.m., 2023, and a trial date of March 20th, 2023 at 9 a.m. He is presumed innocent. We will have I want to open up to a few limited questions from the audience. But again, keep in mind, we are not going to talk about the evidence that we have in this case or about the charging information. We cannot. Those things have been sealed by the court. And so I want to open up a few questions.
Unfortunately, ladies and gentlemen, this is the feed that I have. So we're doing our best, but I'm limited to the quality that's being provided to me.
Again, that's part of the investigation, so I'm not going to talk about those things. What I can say is that we have probable cause established by the, again, that gets into the evidence we have in the investigation. And I know from everybody, it's frustrating. I know everybody, not only reporters, but the family, everybody wants to know more information. I understand it's frustrating, but my goal is to maintain the integrity of this case.
Superintendent Carter, you had said that you believe that you had spoken to the suspect or the suspect's family 2 years ago. Is this man one of the people?
Again, I appreciate the question, but we're getting into the timeline of events, and today's not the time to do that.
Can you talk about how rare it is?
Family, and we've had my conversations with them. We were almost here pretty much when we started off with press conference. Can't imagine how emotional it is for everybody that worked on this case. What is the conversation first like with the family and Abby? What we were able to tell them to finally got this up?
It was a very personal moment for me, and I think it was a very personal moment for them, for all of us that have had interaction with the family. We developed a relationship that I think is going to last at least one lifetime, and maybe a second. So it was a very, very, very sad yet a very humbling experience.
You asked for tips, you detective work, there was a reward of $225,000. Did this all come together, fit this nexus? Is that a combination of all 3 things that led us to this day? Was it one or the other?
Well, eventually you'll be able to see what led us to this day. Again, today's not that day. To include the reward, you mentioned that, Raphael, about the reward itself. And again, very premature for us to talk about that. There's still a tremendous amount of work to do.
You say that Abby and Libby have taught you in depth that we can remain to continue on with them.
I think probably resilience and understanding the value of each and every day. That today was the day, but I didn't anticipate they ever thought today would be their day. And I feel like I've known them for a long time. Excuse me?
Did you assume there's any other individuals involved in this case?
We haven't closed the door on the investigation. And so that's why we keep the tip line and the tip email open. And so we're not presuming anything at this point, but we're going to continue to take tips, continue to take any information anybody has. And as we've done with all the information we've gathered, we're going to look at that and examine that and see where it leads us.
You think you've asked the court based on this investigation These documents should be made out of the public view. He explained, without getting into the details of what's in the document, this is not regular. Usually a public hearing is held. We should be able to see all the documents, right?
Sure.
The decision, we explain your decision as to why you believe that over the next 30 days, no one in this room should have access to those records.
Sure. It is unusual. We don't do it very often. In all the cases that we handle here in Carroll County. We did it in this case because the investigation is still open. And while all cases are important, the nature of this case has some extra important to seal those records. There will be a public hearing on whether or not those records are going to remain sealed or not. There'll be public notice for that hearing so that everyone can attend, but there will be a hearing to determine whether or not they're going to stay sealed. But for now, to me, it's about protecting the integrity of this case. I want to have an opportunity at some point to have an opportunity in court to explain the evidence, and for that not to be tarnished or tainted or anything like that. Again, he's presumed innocent. And so it was important for me in this case to do that. Hold on just a minute. We're not going to comment on that right now. It's part of the investigation. Again, we just encourage everybody to continue to call in tips if they have them about anybody, and we'll examine those tips.
How does it feel for you guys to search nationwide for nearly 6 years, going all over the place, only to find your guy, down the street from your office?
That's a hard question to answer. It's a mixed emotions. I've been watching the news all weekend like everybody else has, and I think a lot of the members of the public said it right. It's bittersweet. It's a step in the right direction.
The quality of this video and the sound is frustrating me as well for someone that live streams every day where it's my full-time job. Unfortunately, this is the best that I have. I'm not sure if there's any other feeds out there. So, I mean, those watching, if you find one, go ahead and stick with it. But every single place that I've seen this live stream, it's been this video source and this quality, unfortunately. Even right now, I'm still taking the live stream in live, the video feed, and what we're getting is what we're getting at the moment. So I'll continue this live stream because obviously this event is still happening. They're taking limited questions from the audience, and I want to hear those.
So I think just different emotions. Again, this is a step in the right direction. This is the first step into getting into court and having a trial. And so.
All right, well, it appears that the press conference has ended at this point. Again, very limited questions taken at the end there. Throughout it, though, the officials were noting in advance that they were going to be taking limited questions and not really being able to answer much because it was still an ongoing investigation. So what we have found out at this point, at least what we've had confirmed, is that 50-year-old Richard Allen was arrested. He was booked on Friday. He's even had his initial hearing where he pleaded not guilty, and he's been charged with at least 2 counts of murder for those 2017 killings of the 2 teenagers in Delphi, Indiana. 2,086 days have passed, as we heard from Superintendent Douglas Carter of the Indiana State Police, who was very emotional throughout his part of the press conference. He even started when he stepped up to the podium saying, just one moment, please. And then sniffles came throughout it. So it's been a very emotional investigation and case for him and the Indiana State Police. He noted that there's a number of people to thank, a number of people involved, a number of people that even avoided retirement, that they waited because they were working on this particular case. And so now we have someone in custody who will go through the judicial process. But that said, they didn't give us really any details as far as how they came across that man or what evidence they have against him. Of course, that will all come out eventually, bit by bit.
You guys, I heated myself right out of here. So anyhow, I don't think we learned anything new or exciting. Do you guys? I'll drop the link. Otherwise, I'm going to go ahead and shut this on down and start up another one here in a bit. Because we got a whole lot to talk about. Here's this if y'all want the link there. Yeah, so there's a whole lot going on. Okay, nobody clicked the link. All right. Well, then hit that like and subscribe on your way out, and we'll start a new live. I just wanted to pop on and do this press conference so we had it and we could watch it together. And yeah, we got a lot to go over. I've gotten a million messages. I did see Savage's video, and we are going to go over it. We are going to talk about it. So we also got other stuff to talk about. So I will see y'all back here in just a little bit.
I've been on my own for 3 weeks now. I've been drinking every single bottle, Jim Beam down. You say I'm crazy, but I think you're just mad. You say I'm wild, what's so bad about that? Baby, we were good, like wine going down. But only the whiskey can save me now. Only the whiskey can save me now. I walk a straight line, but it only brings me down. There's love in that bottle that I'm drinking down, drowning a heartache since you walked out. Only the whiskey can save me now. Only the whiskey can save me now. Even the preacher, he says he can't help me. I've been singing praise the Lord, hallelujah, but it don't set me free. You say I'm crazy, but I think you're just mad. You say I'm wild, but what's so bad about that? I've been seeing old lovers, but they can't keep the memories out. Oh, only the whiskey can save me now. Only the whiskey can save me now. Only the drinking down, drowning our heartache since you walked out. Only the whiskey is saving me now.